What's more brave, running into a burning building to save the life of a family trapped inside, or offering a controversial take on a beloved horror movie that just released? I think both are equally as brave, but there's only one that I'm courageous enough to actually do, and that's giving a horror movie that has the entire film world going gushing grannies mode over it a less than perfect score, less than 100%, which is controversial, it seems. Longlegs. I already know me name dropping this film and stating that I'm giving it a less than perfect score has probably already had a few people spitting out their Budweiser while cracking their knuckles, turning to their keyboard going, "No more Mr. Nice Guy." But I want to be clear up front, I think it's a good movie. But I don't think it's anything special. I think it is dreadfully overhyped. I went into it with really high expectations because all the reviews, it had like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and everyone that I was reading from was saying things like, scariest movie humanity's ever produced. This one's gonna keep you awake for the rest of your life because you won't be able to think about anything besides how frightening this film was. It's gonna have you looking over both shoulders anytime you pass a dark corner. Like crazy praise, which is rare for a horror movie. So, I saw it last night, and I gave a little pseudo moist meter on stream last night. I'm going to play that for you here, but be warned, it's a bit of a hot take because it seems like not many people feel the same way I do about it. Now, I already know there's plenty of people that aren't actually going to bother hearing what I have to say about the movie. You've already made your minds up about me that I'm some brainless Cro-Magnon that just couldn't understand Longlegs, which is why I wasn't scared by it. I promise you that's not the case, because Longlegs itself is a film that I feel like you can't walk away without understanding at least the majority of it, because the very end of the movie drills into you exactly what it was all about and what was happening. So it's not exactly like the subtlety was lost on me. I appreciate the cinematography. The cinematography does so much heavy lifting in this film. It's actually beautifully shot. The performances are great, but it really felt like a ton of other horror movies I've seen with much prettier packaging around it. Especially, I'm not going to get into spoilers. This is completely spoiler free. I want to make that clear up front. And also, I already know there's other people that'll use some other kind of explanation for why I didn't like it. Oh, Charlie only likes horror movies with jump scares, which is a crazy take considering I hate most modern horror films. I think the vast majority are irredeemable dog shit, and a lot of that is because they have an over-reliance on jump scares. My favorite horror movie is Hereditary, and by all accounts, that movie is a slow burn. It's an unrelenting, eerie, tension-building film, and the jump scares don't really come in until like the last 10 minutes, which is my least favorite part of the film because it kind of just devolved into normal horror cliches in like a 10-minute montage. They just speed run every jump scare ever, which I thought was kind of silly. But I still think Hereditary is a horror movie masterpiece. So the pacing of the film being slower in Longlegs, I actually think is a very big positive thing. So that's definitely not any kind of complaint I have, and I hope no one gets that twisted. Anyway, I get into more specifics on stream, again, while avoiding spoilers, but I kind of just vomit out my thoughts a little bit more there, so you can really take in this hot take for you. I'm gonna give you a little live moist meter on Longlegs here. I was extremely excited for this movie. It had so much hype, like all the headlines were, "This is the scariest movie ever, you won't be able to sleep without a nightlight on, hope you got your mom to give you some warm milk on standby after seeing this one, because it's gonna scar you." It's the scariest movie in decades, certified masterpiece, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and all the trailers looked amazing. So it came out today, and I just got back from it. Overhyped. I'm sorry to tell you, it very overhyped. I don't know what the marketing budget was, but they must have really sold it in a big way to the critics. Because it is good, like it's not bad by any means. It's better than most horror movies, but that's like, you know, that's not a very high bar. Most horror movies are irredeemable slop. But it is better than most. But it's just, I don't know, it's not special. And I went into it expecting something like Hereditary level, where I'm like, I haven't seen anything like this. This is genuinely unnerving stuff. And the movie's shot beautifully, the acting's great, the story is good. It's just not scary. Like, really at all. I see tier 1 12-bit. Pretty much all of the scares are the exact scares that we've seen a million times in every other horror movie ever. They're just packaged a little bit better. Nicolas Cage was great. Everyone was great in it, but I don't think like a good performance can save a not scary horror movie. Like, there's a couple scenes that do a good job of building tension, but the tension never goes anywhere. They just let it peter out. So you'll have like a really long scene. It's like, oh, this is going to build to something like crazy. There's going to be something really, eerie about this. And then it just slowly fades. I don't know, it never got under my skin. I never felt like on the edge of my seat or scared, chattering fingernails on my teeth or anything. I just didn't think it was all that great. It's good, but it's not great. Why did they hype up what he looks like so much? Because Nicolas Cage looks like a super weirdo in the film. And he looks weird, but he doesn't even look that much different than... You know what he looks like in this movie? He looks like the grandfather from Holes in the flashback scene with Kate Bartlow where she's like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa, and he goes, that's too damn bad! That's what Nicolas Cage looks like here. It's nothing crazy. He looks exactly like this guy. So he just progressively gets more and more like this guy as the movie goes on with longer hair. This movie also has a really lackluster ending because they treat the audience like they were too stupid to piece together what was happening throughout the whole movie. So there's a montage that explains all of it and just beats you over the head with it. It's not bad. Please don't misunderstand me. Like I said, this is better than 90% of horror movies that come out. But it is not the masterpiece that I thought it would be. I was ready to expect another Hereditary, which I guess is unrealistic. But it really wasn't close. So you just set your expectations a little high? Yeah, I think it's part of that. I definitely think that's part of it. And I think the hype around the movie does it a huge disservice once you actually see it. Because it's not the scariest movie ever made or anything. But it is a good movie. Why didn't you like the ending of Hereditary? I think it's so unique. I think it's the opposite. The problem with Hereditary's ending to me is that it's not unique. The rest of the movie was. The final 10 minutes is just every jump scare ever shoehorned into a 10-minute speed run. The mom banging her head on the attic. Then a bunch of people coming out going, boo! 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 The theater started laughing when the coat, or whatever it was, flew across the room. It was so silly. So good as a film, but not scary, right? Yeah. That's kind of how I'd classify it. I think for certain people it will be unnerving, depending on how you respond to the themes. So it just wasn't one that I personally found to be frightening. I have to know what Longlegs is about. I'm not going to spoil it. Like I said, I think it's probably best to go in not knowing what it's about because the trailers do a good job of keeping that a mystery. So, I won't ruin that. What would I give Longlegs? If I was to put Longlegs on the moist meter, I'd probably give it a comfortable 75%. It's good, like I said. That's probably where I'd land. Somewhere in there. I don't remember if I mentioned this on stream, but I watched Sinister the other night because it's one of those, horror movies that everyone gives a lot of flowers to. They're like, Sinister really is one of the best. And it's one of them that I hadn't seen before. So I watched Sinister for the first time. And the movie's pretty dog shit for the most part. But what it does really, really well is when it's going through the old home movies, the sound design is great. The sound really fucking sells some of it. And then when it gets out of the sound, when it gets out of the tapes, they just have the really silly stuff with the guy who just goes up to the camera and does this. So, dog shit's being really harsh for no reason. It's fine, but it's not I would never say it's one of the best.